Hey everybody, it's Record Time with Chris, episode 31, and this is the big Record Store Day Black Friday video where I'll get to show you some of the cool stuff that's coming out. But first, self-promotion here. You know, we're doing a lot more record type videos here, as you can tell, because made a series out of it. So if you like looking at me holding up records and CDs and things on the YouTube, then why don't you subscribe? You know, and it would make me feel better too. And I think you did. I think if you're watching this, you'd enjoy it. I think you'd enjoy it. You know, where I work at Bull Moose, we are opening at 6 o'clock in the morning, but that's for like the the cheap Blockbuster Blu-rays and Nintendo Switches and things like that that are going to be flying out the door. We don't do the Record Store Day stuff until 8 a.m. on the East Coast, and the reason is that we just don't want to get too far ahead of the West Coast stores. All right, let's get to it. This right here, really fun record. It's called Moon Rocks. Extraplanetary funk, space disco, and galactic boogie. It's part of the Jazz Dispensary series. As you can see, awesome sci-fi artwork on the inside and the outside. It is on clear vinyl, and it's a ton of fun. It's really fun. It's, if you think of like the Parliament album, Mothership Connection, it's a lot like that. And it's great song titles, things like Funky Force is With You and Close Encounters of the Funky Kind. There's a band called Starship Connection, so Messages from the Stars is another song. So it's really fun. Also, Isaac Hayes, this is a new compilation, never before been on any format. This is stuff that's been taken from the recent Isaac Hayes box set, though, so I guess it's all been on there before. And again, great track notes, liner note. No, that's an interview, I'm sorry. Got the track listings on the back. It's called The Spirit of Memphis, and nice heavy vinyl, black vinyl, but it's got a cool, pretty nice label there. You can see with the Stax finger snapping logo there. This is a live album where it's called Stroke It Noel, and this is a bunch of people playing songs from Big Star's Third and just some other Big Star stuff as well. Here's the what the sticker looks like, and here we have, there's photos from the concerts on there. And should mention that this is already available on CD, but there are a few songs that are exclusive to the vinyl. So if you want to try to recreate the entire experience, you're going to need this, and then just get the regular CD, which is, just go to back to the Big Star section and grab that out of there. This is the first holiday themed album I have to show you. Gene Autry, going way back. It's his Christmas album. And it is white vinyl, nice white vinyl. Another surprising record. Here we go. All right, Leonard Nimoy presents Mr. Spock's Music from Outer Space. Nice picture hit on the back, and pretty cool. I like the reconstruction of the Dot Records logo there, black vinyl. Also, here's a repress of Tangerine Dream's first album. This is the only one that Klaus Schulze was on before he went to Asherah Temple and then quit them. So, early electronic music. Here we are. And the black vinyl, if I remember correctly. There's the soundtrack to Forbidden Zone, a weird 80s movie. And the soundtrack is credited to Danny Elfman and the Mystic Knights of Oingo Boingo. So this is Danny Elfman's very first soundtrack, and the vinyl is a nice, it's a colored green. I don't know if can you see the marbling? It's like a marble, transparent, more like translucent green. And it's sort of like Gatorade electric color that I don't think I've seen on vinyl before. Here's the soundtrack to Silver Linings Playbook, movie with Jennifer Lawrence and Bradley Cooper. It's got a nice gatefold cover here. Here's the back, and the songs are by people like Danny Elfman, who we just mentioned before, Stevie Wonder, Alabama Shakes, Dave Brubeck, Alt J, Les Paul and Mary Ford, the Eagles of Death Metal, some other stuff. So let me show you the record. It's very cool looking, and you imagine it's going to be silver, but maybe you didn't quite imagine it was going to be silver and green. Now, what's the green it tells us is that this is one of the Vital Vinyl titles, which are used to raise funds for the Jed Foundation, and that's it's a charity to promote like suicide prevention and just general emotional health support in teens and young adults. So great cause, and it's relevant to this this movie because Bradley Cooper's character is mentally ill, and it's a lot about that. So I'm going to give it this year's Golden Gear Award for the best record store day release, or the like archetypal, ultimate record store day release. And I'll tell you why. It's because when we first started talking about this, when it was announced in October, one of our regular customers said on both Twitter and on our YouTube channel, she talked about how much this meant to her and what the money was going to go to, and kind of said she'd struggled with some of the same stuff. And so not only did the movie really speak to her, but it just made her, I don't know, it made her feel real good, I guess, that this was happening. And, I guess it just reminds us that that's what art, music, and art and film, we're supposed to connect and support us to each other. You know what I mean? Anyway, Golden Gear Award for Silver Linings Playbook, and big thank you to everybody who was part of that. I think it's a wonderful thing. Got Otis Redding live in Europe, and this is just, I guess, partly to remind us that the Otis Redding box set is coming out with all the stacked stuff. And as you can see, it is red vinyl, and this is mono, and it says it's the first time it's been issued in mono. All right, here's an important kind of early punk rock record, Richard Hell and the Voidoids. He was, if you're not familiar with him, he was part of that scene like with Television, which actually he was in an early version of Television, and the Ramones, part of the CBGB's crowd. In fact, this guy, after he left this bar, he became Marky Ramone. That's the drummer right there. And let me show you, it's a pretty, so this is, I think this is what the original gatefold inside. It's got the Sire label there, and it comes with a really great book. I mean, it's enormous. And let me show you, so it's got pictures, all kinds of, pictures, lots and lots of text, including, oh, here we go, lyrics, the interview with Richard Hell, and a bunch of his thoughts on all the different songs. And it's also available as a double CD. Oh, I should mention, both of these are double disc sets, and it's the original album, and then the second disc is, alternate versions and all that. This has the, folds out. You got both discs, so this is kind of that's the same collage that's in the other one. There is a booklet. Obviously, it's much smaller, and it looks like it's almost identical, except but it's not just a shrunken down version of the other one. I noticed that it was retypeset, so some of the text has slid into different positions on the pages. But that's, I guess, a little bit excessive to talk about. Twisted Sister, A Twisted Christmas. This has been very popular. Multiple times it's been available on CD. Now we finally have it on vinyl with a green, slightly bluish green color. And their logo right on there. Dimebag Darrell, the hits. This is 5 songs, rarities, and we get a 1-page lyric sheet with some story about it. Let me show you the back. Here we are, and the vinyl is, well, cool label, and the vinyl's black. Sun Volt, straight away is the reissue. Black vinyl, but it's heavy, must be 180 gram. And let's see, here is the Grateful Dead box set. It's called Grateful Dead Records Collection, and, well, I'll show you what's inside. All right. Hey, let's start with this booklet. It's on heavy paper. We've got lyrics, of course. Pick a photo of the test pressing, you know, just the kind of stuff you'd expect in here. It looks like there's an essay on every one of the albums that are included. And this is, let's see, I'll just show you what the albums are. Oh, it feels really good. So you got Steal Your Face. There's Gatefold's double album. Also, Blues for Allah. Looks good. From Mars Hotel and Wake of the Flood. So these are nice. These are nice reproductions. This one is on like a more matte finish, and this is more glossy. They feel really heavy and just solid and nice, like a nicely done package. There are 2 different records of old beats done by J. Dilla. I think this might have even been before he was called J. Went by that name, and although they're very similar colors, they are completely different. It's different music, and the one in the green cover is green vinyl, and of course, yeah, this is purple vinyl in the purple one. And let's see, this would be volume. This is volume 1, and it's just got tracks DD 001 through 012, and here you have 13 through 24. Here's a very plain Lee Scratch Perry 12-inch red vinyl to match the, you know, matches the cover, and the back is plain too with the with the Get On Down logo. This is this is pretty cool. This is available on vinyl and on CD. Now, there's an interesting story here. Timothy McNealy was a Texas funk and soul guy who released some singles and stuff, but he didn't go anywhere, didn't get popular. And I mean, the story's all in this nice big booklet that's here, and there's a booklet in the CD as well. But the short version of it is that somebody went to his house to buy a bunch of used records because he had, I guess, a big collection of like Texas soul, and just through the conversation it came about that he wouldn't mind if somebody reissued his stuff. So that led to Now Again reissuing stuff. We got Prodigy, HNIC. Here we are, and it's not a gatefold, but it's you know, 2 records in 1 sleeve. And I don't know if you can kind of see here, but this is the black part is a separate little strip that when you take this out, it'll come right off if you want, so that it doesn't obscure the original artwork. It'll match your CD, but you get, you know, it looks nice, and there's some information about it. Oh, lyrics. Awesome. Okay. I saw a lot of people online pretty excited about this. It's Latyrx, which is a 90s hip-hop record. Lateef and Lyrics are the 2 guys. So we've got a nice gatefold cover here. Great essay on the inside, which explains track by track, but also puts it in context of what else was going on in 90s hip-hop. Very informative. It includes a bonus 7-inch, and it's a double album. Both records are colored vinyl. This is, as you see, like light blue swirl with like darker blue with some white in there, and the other LP is red with like some white streaks in there. And as I'm sure you know, every record, of course, when they do them this way, is going to be a little bit different, just because they don't have perfect control over how the little bits of different color move around. All right, ICP, Insane Clown Posse. Now, let me show you what we got here. This is, all right, double album, just in the one sleeve, and they're both translucent green, a dark green, more like a lime lifesaver-y kind of green, not so much the like Gatorade that we saw on something earlier in the video. Got two records by a Texas soul group called Sonny and the Sunliners, and this is really cool stuff. Listen to that. And they, if you like these, another album of theirs was released on CD and vinyl in September, so check it out. And what do we need to say about it? Black vinyl, the basic label. Oh, the stage is set, the lights are dimmed, and now the Sunliner Band. That's what it says on the back. So you've got like what looks like the original 60s commentary there on the back. All right, Tori Amos. It's called the Russian EP. 4 songs from her most recent album. And let's see. So the writing is in Russian. That's why I guess they're calling it that. There's also this Rush 7-inch. It goes along with the recent reissue of Farewell to Kings, and that's one where, you know, there's the like big super deluxe box with all kinds of goodies in it. Black vinyl, but I think this came in, it fell out. I'm not sure if it's part of this package or not, but it's a custom 45 RPM adapter from the big hole to the small hole. If you need one of those. Now, let's look at this. So, that's the whole assortment of these. So, if you ever saw the movie Singles, there was a cassette demo that was like a prop in the movie, and Chris Cornell took the tape, looked at the songs that were the fake song titles that were on the tape, and recorded like demos of those songs. So it's being issued in 3 different colors on both cassette and vinyl. Give you a closer look at these in a second here. So the pink one, if you look at it, you know, and the inside reminds me of, it's like a waxy stock, but do you see here where it looks like it's kind of rubbed off and it's all really one color? It reminds me of like the way tapes looked around, like a homemade, you know, self-produced cassette tape that a band might have done in the early 90s, you know, had this kind of look to it. Because, I mean, I know my band, when we released a couple tapes at the time, and we would print the covers ourselves on like, you know, cardstock at somebody's office at night when her boss wasn't around. And the old toner would kind of flake off like this, so it would be like the New York Times or something, where it would get on your hands and stuff. But it's I don't know who the art director on this was, but they're pretty smart to do that. Let's look at the records now. It's the same music, 3 different colors, and it's black vinyl, but each one has the same color scheme, just like these. The label on the tape matches the cover. Here we have the label on the record matches the cover. And just to show you give you a better look at them, here we are. Here's the pink one. Just looks like on the back. Those will be fun. Whoops. All right. Now, picture disc here. This is Yusuf Islam or Cat Stevens. I think you will find this filed under S in a lot of stores, Stevens, just because his name's biggest here. This is a picture disc of his most recent album, The Laughing Apple, and this kind of reminded me of that head from the Kool-Aid commercials. And, oh, this is interesting, but produced by Yusuf himself and Paul Samuel Smith, who was, you know, like a member of the Yardbirds, who then went on to produce a bunch of stuff when he stopped doing, well, when he left the Yardbirds. He wanted me to be a producer. Not a bad gig, because he's still doing stuff. Here is a pretty cool jazz record by the Sonny Clark Trio. Max Roach is the drummer on this, and it's from 1960. There's a nice contemporary essay in here, written recently by Ben Rateliff. And then on the back you get liner notes by Nat Hentoff, which I assume were from the original issue of this. But what makes this even cooler, besides the fact, not only can you just buy it on vinyl again, but it's also, there's a second record of outtakes with different versions of some of the songs on here. I mean, the pieces, they're not songs, nobody's singing. Let's see, Benjamin Booker, live 10-inch, and I guess I'll show you the vinyl first. Very clear vinyl, and here is the cover. It's either called Live for No One or Live for No One, but it's live, so, you know, who knows. Good energy on that, and I can hear a download card banging around in there. Janis Joplin's Greatest Hits. Now, we have had a Janis Joplin release almost, it seems like almost every record store day or record store day Black Friday. We've had individual albums, box set of album box set. We've had 7-inch box set, I think, or maybe some individual 7 inches. But this, if you don't have all those, this is pretty cool. This is just because it's, you know, a greatest hits album, and if you want to see what she's all about, I mean, that's a great way to start. Here's a CD. It's called The Depression Sessions, and it is 3 artists from Nuclear Blast: Thy Art Is Murder, The Acacia Strain, and Fit for an Autopsy. 2 songs by each one, and at least one of those songs is exclusive to this. It has been released on vinyl and before, but that's why it's a CD. That's why it's a CD. Anyway, if you couldn't play the record, now you can get the CD. Time for the singles speed round, I guess. So, a sampler from Dan Auerbach's new label, including a song by him. Charlatans 7-inch. Eric Church, 2 live songs. We'll show you the back. Looks like a stained glass window. Aretha Franklin, 2 songs from her most recent album, the one with the Royal Philharmonic, where they added strings over the top of some of her classic recordings. Gone is Gone. 2 different 7 inches here with Paul McCartney on them, and it's his wonderful Christmas time song where he's joined by Jimmy Fallon and the Roots. And then one of these has the B-side of Decemberists, the other one has B-side by Norah Jones. And as you can see, they are to remind us that Paul's company, MPL, has another volume of their Holidays Rule compilation coming out. Okay, got another Christmas 7-inch. This one's Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats, Baby It's Cold Outside, and Santa Baby. Reverend Payton's Big Damn Band, not a holiday release. Twisted. Yes, this is a holiday record as well, because the B-side is Sad Christmas Song featuring Blaze, You Dead Homie, and there's a fire art placed right there to remind you of that. I'm going to move on to the 10 inches now. Here's an Anthrax picture disc, and this is a cover of a Journey song, actually. I think Carry On, My Wayward Son is Journey. Was that Journey? I think so. At the Drive-In, stuff that you can't get anywhere else. Black Lips, nice artwork. Cold War Kids, EP, 2 songs on each side. Here we are, Fleet Foxes live stuff. We're live in the studio anyway, and the picture disc with Groot, Guardians of the Galaxy thing. There we are. Maybe that's just a silhouette. You can see him okay, right? Yeah. There's Sun Volt 10-inch, and be careful. Watch out in the. They also have a full album reissue coming out, and Humphreys McGee. You see, it's buzzsaw shaped, and it is indeed. It's hard to tell, but it's actually die cut into the shape of that buzzsaw. and a slightly different look on the back. We have Albert Eiler and Don Cherry, and this is being released by ORG. So I haven't heard this one, but their stuff tends to have like an audiophile sound quality, but usually a few bucks less than your typical audiophile record. So whatever they're doing, it always sounds good. We have the complete Chris Bell 6 LP box set from Omnivore, and this has got regular albums and stuff that's like a couple discs of demos and rarity stuff or outtakes and an interview disc, and there's also stuff he did before Big Star. Exciting there. Speaking of rarities, Blue Oyster Cult rarities. I think this has been on CD before, and it's gatefold 2 LP demos, live stuff, single version of them studio recording of Born to Be Wild, Tommy Bolin, Energy, kind of, you know, fusion-y, heavy metal type stuff. Cheap Trick Christmas album, plenty of Christmas album. All right, also Christmas on Death Row, which is a double album. Gary Clark Jr. Junkie XL. It's 2 versions have come together from the Justice League movie. That's how we remember that. Let's set these up here. All right, continuing on. Clutch picture disc. This is the one for Black Friday, but they've released a couple other ones this fall. Doors, Absolutely Live. Classic live album. This is it's on blue vinyl. Steve Earle reissue. Here we go. Tav Falco, Christmas. Game of Thrones picture disc. It's a full-length album. And probably something back. Oh, here's another cool one from ORG. This is a garage compilation of American garage bands from the 60s. Should be fun. Here's the Gorillaz picture disc, and this was kind of rumored like this summer, but here it is, finally coming out for Black Friday, Record Store Day, Black Friday. John Lee Hooker live from 1977. 2 Waylon Jennings releases. So this one here with the picture of Muhammad Ali on it is like a tribute to Muhammad Ali that he recorded. And we also have this thing called New Stuff. And the story here is that his son Shooter found this cassette. Well, there's a picture of it, I guess, called just Waylon wrote New Stuff on it. So this is what was on that tape, which was then New Things. Kid Cudi, double LP, gatefold. Looking good there. Here's a Creator picture disc. Yeah, you know, metal. A lot of metal labels are doing picture discs. Getting very common these days. So here's the soundtrack to a Lydia Loveless movie, and the this record is the DVD comes along with it, so you can get this alone or this with the record. Go. Pink on the back. Ingrid Michaelson picture disc. The one. Wes Montgomery live in Paris. This is Resonance Records, and their stuff tends to always sell out on Record Store Day. So you know this will be another really good sounding, well done thing. Got Iggy Pop, Preston RTI. What else do we have here? Here we are, Queen, We Are the Champions, and We Will Rock You, 12-inch. Again, you see the robot from News of the World. There's a News of the World box set that just came out. Raspberries. All right, 3 LPs from Omnivore. Triple LP set. Otis Redding live in Europe. And remember, there's an Otis Redding box set that is coming out. Remember, that's a good present for someone like me, Dad. Okay, Brian Setzer Orchestra live. Skyrim. This is just like atmospheric stuff from the video game. Sun Volt, I mentioned them before. This is a reissue of Straightaways. Also, we got a lot of questions about this already. Twisted Sister, A Twisted Christmas, first time on vinyl. Here's the U2 12-inch, and this is the first music released from their next album. Got some Todd Rundgren Utopia demos, or demos, just rarities, unreleased stuff. Or they were demos, actually, for the POV album. Here's a double live album from the 80s by Venom. All right, Why Can't Tori Read, which I don't think has ever been legitimately available since, you know, the 80s. And this is the band Tori Amos was in before she became Tori Amos and famous with Little Earthquakes and all that stuff. And finally, Neil Young, Harvest Moon, a beautiful, beautiful album. First time that it's been on vinyl in the US. So here's your first chance to get it. I think maybe there were a few copies somewhere else. As always happens, some things are canceled because they're just late getting in, or they've been pushed back to the next record store day or whatever. And so Frank Zappa, Lou Reed and Chris Christopherson have been, I think those are definitely scheduled for next year. I'm not sure what's up with the Prodigy 12-inch, if that's going to be redone for next year. But the Prodigy's HNIC is still going to come out. In fact, it's in this video, so you know it's definitely coming out. I want to mention some stuff that I just don't have physical copies of yet, but I think are notable. One is that I'm real excited about is a band called The Free Design, and this is their reissue of their first album, Kites Are Fun, and they're kind of like sunshiny pop, sort of like, if you know, the Partridge Family, except there's like this really weird creative streak that's going on in there, and so they're really pushing things with harmonies. It's two brothers and two sisters, actually. So there's a lot of like counterpoint and these lines that snake across each other, and the arrangements are really creative. It's the kind of thing that I know I would have dismissed as totally cheesy for most of my life, until somebody who works here turned me on to them, and it's really, really, really good. I like it a lot. A lot of people are excited for the Sundays Static and Silence reissue. Mike Watt, Contemplating the Engine Room. There's a Chet Atkins 7-inch. I know that there's a certain radio guy up north who will be looking for that. So check this out. I was like schlepping a bunch of stuff from like a church holiday fair to Goodwill that hadn't sold, and you know, just helping them clean up. And this ended up like getting in my garage, this, you know, Santa Claus mat. And so anyway, a kid that I was with, like he was like 11, suggested we change it to Sun Ra. Our house believes in Sun Ra. Now, that's because, and I mention this because there's some bunch of Sun Ra stuff. So a new compilation called Exotica, which is going to be on vinyl and CD. And there's also a 7-inch by Wynonie Harris. And that's the first recording he played on. I think it's from like 1949 or so. Check that out. 3-6 Mafia, Chapter 2, World Domination. There's a collection called From the Vaults. That's a bunch of stuff from Studio One. Bill Hicks, the comedian, live album. I think it's live. Pretty sure that hasn't been released before ever. Dave Matthews and Tim Reynolds, live at Luther College. Sean Price, Refrigerator P, and that's a 10-inch from Coal Mine Records, which is a small but really interesting, like a, you know, funk label, modern funk. Really very, very cool stuff. There is reissued the United States of America, which is one of those weird, unique bands from the late 60s, and there's a bunch of other cool stuff coming from Sundays. It's all weird. One last thing before I go, I just want to say, you know, it would mean a lot to me. I'd really appreciate it if you subscribed either to our whole channel or the Record Time with Chris playlist. There'll be a places to go to them and pop up somewhere around here near the end. And so, you know, if you like this, so here's what Record Time with Chris is. It's you know, it's like this kind of thing. I hold up records and show you some of what's going on, but there's also other stuff. Like this thing is really cool, and I meant to do it earlier in the year. I never did. There's this thing which is actually like a cassette in a pretty cool package. That's something I think that you know, put in a future episode. And of course there's the always popular vinyl cam, which is, you know, just hard to get into a big long video like this because, you know, I can't play 100 things. And anyhow, if you don't, that's great too. And we will see you on Black Friday or on Black Saturday or Small Business Saturday, because there's a Dawes Live piece coming out that day. And between now and then, I hope you are listening to something awesome.